Well, we were talking about this on break, Tina, but isn't it hard to believe that the movie Minority Report came out 13 years ago? But you know what? It's actually still very popular in DVDs.
Well, that's because the big names that are associated with the movie, you can see exactly why. Jim Ferguson is rewinding to his chat with, you know, Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg. You know those guys.
Those old
Not
chaps.
too bad. You know, they are such powerful people in Hollywood. I thought, why not dig this out again?
Yeah.
And as you said, people are still renting this. It's still very popular.
I really like
Minority
this
Report.
movie.
Yeah, I did too.
But it was 13 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I saw it 13 years ago and loved it, but I feel like I'm glad it's on DVD because I want to go back and
I know,
watch it
and
again.
you know, I looked at those interviews, and they're good interviews, and they hold up today. And I'll tell you a little bit about Spielberg. But first, Tom Cruise. This is a science fiction action thriller, all rolled up in one. Spielberg hadn't done a film for a while, and this was kind of his comeback film. But it's set in 2054 in Washington, D.C., where there's a special unit of cops called, well, they're pre-crime.
Right.
Can you imagine today arresting somebody before they commit the crime?
Yeah.
And they have these precogs, these people that can look into the future and see that you're going to commit a crime, so they arrest you, you know. Unfortunately for Tom Cruise's character, he's one of the leaders of this group, and he gets arrested, and he wants to solve the reason why, so there's the mystery.
Right.
Okay, so he goes after who he's supposed to kill in the future. But here's a nice interview with Tom Cruise. Well, Mr. Cruz, good to see you.
Sir. How are you? Good to see you.
Congratulations, Minority Report. President Bush just announced yesterday that he's going to combine powers of the CIA and FBI and give them more preventative, to try to prevent crime in light of what's going on with the terrorism around the world. Would you agree, Tom, the timing for Minority Report couldn't be better?
It's amazing what's happened. But I remember when I read the short story, I thought it was prophetic.
Philip Dick.
Yeah, Philip Dick. And I just thought it had great potential. You know, the social commentary is there, but, you know, I think what Steven Spielberg did, and Scott Frank also, is just, he knows it's there, and he still goes on and tells a great story. But it's incredible what's happening in the world today. It's
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Your character, John Anderton, DC detective, working through a tragedy in his life. Much like a character on TV, host John Walsh, America's Most Wanted.
You know what?
There's a similarity there.
I didn't realize that actually until you know, a young lady just mentioned it, you know, a few minutes ago, and then you said this. I didn't, and I didn't think of that.
That's because we talked about it.
Did y'all talk? Did y'all have a discussion about that? Was she meant she stole your line? Did she? She stole your line. And that that had no relevance in the story.
Yeah, I know. Love the open scene where you go up there like a music conductor and you're running this
Scrubbing
machine,
the image.
Scrubbing the image.
That's Steven.
Oh,
Steven came. He
boy.
says, "You know, I've got an idea. I want you to know, you know, because we both love, you know, computer games and, you know, things that, you know, kind of trade on, things like that." And he came up with this idea, and he showed me, he directed this demo of this thing. He said, "I want you to come by and see what you think." I just saw it. I was like, wow. It's just, I mean,
the classical music.
the class, that's Spielberg.
Yeah, that's
Spielberg.
At his best.
That
right.
man, just
That's his
firing on all
best.
cylinders.
Well, Tom, he doesn't do these too
That's what we were
often
just
anymore.
saying.
Yeah, I know. But that was a nice interview, and he was in a good mood, and he was very good in Minority Report. Directed by, he's a superstar himself, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And Steven talks about some unusual things, this was 13 years ago, that we're doing today. You know, he's way ahead of his time. But here's a great guy, Steven Spielberg. You know, I'm on the board of directors for the Broadcast Film Critics. When we do our award show every year, he's there. And he's usually the last one to leave. You know, and he always remembers that, and he's just such a great guy. And he's from Arizona, by the way.
Yeah.
Grew up in Scottsdale. Yeah. Anyhow, here's the director of Minority Report, Mr. Steven, I call him Mr. Steven Spielberg. I'm going to tell you one of my quotes about Minority Report. It's state-of-the-art science fiction at its very best, and my congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful film.
Thank you.
I knew Gene Roddenberry very well. He used to come to Arizona quite often, and I would do a whole hour interview with him. I think, Steven, that he would applaud this movie,
Alex.
knowing Gene the way I did. There's no volume. That's how good I feel this film
Well, that's a
is.
great compliment because we learned so much from Gene,
Yeah.
who was devoted to science fiction, but also sort of devoted to taking us off this planet and giving us alternative realities that we could root for.
And tell a good story.
Always a good story. Every one of his episodes was like a great Twilight Zone.
You said to me at the E.T. red carpet
thing.
You came over to me and you said, I said, Stephen, this still holds up. It's wonderful. And you said, because it's a good story.
It's about the story, yeah.
And that's what you have here. Would you agree?
I think I'm blessed to have a good story inspired by Philip K. Dick and written by Scott Frank, you know, and John Cohen. Scott did the major portion of the writing on the movie that you saw. And I think it all starts with the screenplay. I think that all of us, Schindler's List would not have been Schindler's List without Steve Zalian's contributions as the screenwriter. I certainly don't consider myself a writer. I consider myself a filmmaker, director. And so I am dependent on men and women who know how to write and can tell good stories. I can tell a good story too, but I need the words.
Okay. Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise, Minority Report. I recommend it as a DVD.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't seen it, definitely see it.
Yeah. Speaking of DVD, coming out this week, I think tomorrow, is a comedy called Get Hard.
And I just saw it over the
You
weekend.
did see it over the weekend.
Yeah, it was funny.
It's being released this week. And of course, we have with us on Friday Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell together.
Are they just too much together?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
They seem like they'd be really fun.
but they are fun, but they'll give you a good interview at the same
Really?
time. You know, they are very funny and they're very good. And I will review Get Hard again, and we'll run that interview I did with the two of them again. I highly recommend it. It's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Well, Jim, it's always such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here. You know, and I'm digging out a lot of these old interviews that I feel our audience would enjoy seeing. I'm sure they like to see Tom Cruise and Steven
Oh,
Spielberg
yeah.
today. Yeah.
Well, we absolutely love it. So we will look forward to Friday.
Look forward to it.